Welcome to Inside Haiku Apps.
Hello, all my fellow Haiku-nauts. Okay, we are going more or less systematically through the preferences. And let's see what is up next. Let's see, I think there they are. We've gone up to data translations. Now I'm not going to do disk bar because this one is in fact exactly the same as that one. And we've done that already. Email deserves a longer video because how the email system works on Haiku, it can be a little tricky to set up. I need to do a little bit of homework there. And, then it's not just setting it up, it's also how to use it. That's a unit. So we're going to wait a little bit with that. Same with file types. That deserves a longer discussion. We've already done input. It was out of order. I did it quite early on. So that brings us to Keymap. And there you are immediately confronted with a keyboard. And generally, the one that your setup creates for you will be correct for most of you. Yeah. People put a lot of effort into these. Funny story, I was in the Netherlands a few weeks ago and we went to buy a new laptop for my father. So we went to this big place called MediaMarkt, which is where they sell everything from washing machines to laptops. And every single laptop there in this big store in the Netherlands was sold with an American keyboard, not a Dutch one. So I imagine it's different if you're using Bulgarian or Faroese, maybe. But a lot of computers around the world are simply sold with a US keyboard. So the first thing you've got to figure out is find out what your keyboard looks like. Now I use Apple Aluminium Extended International because the keyboard on this virtual setup is what's it called, a MacAlli, which is a keyboard with the Mac key. So there you can see Command Option Control rather than Alt Windows Control. So the first thing you do is go to Layout and then generic 104 or generic 105. Let's see, the ThinkPad is different. So if we go to generic 105, now you see it looks different already. And if we go to ThinkPad US, there, now you get a laptop keyboard. And so you can use these layouts to most resemble the one you've actually got. These things are not as standardized as you might think, but try to get it closely as you can. Then you go and you pick the language of your keyboard. We go to, say, Croatian. Oh, it doesn't look very different. Let's see what it would be. different. Let's try German. There you already see a few keys have changed. Hebrew, that looks very different. Hungarian, here you see these accented letters coming up. And hang on, French should be different because they use an AZERTY rather than a QWERTY layout. Okay, so that's the basis of it, but for some reason yours is different. You can actually drag and drop these keys. So you pick them up and you say, I want the W over there. And now they've changed positions. If you do that, then the next thing is to save your modified keyboard, and it'll come somewhere down there. Right. Dead keys. Right. In some keyboards you can see, so in this particular keyboard you can type that little caret and then your letter, and then you'll get an A or whatever with the caret on top of it. The same for all these other little diacritical marks. Switch shortcuts keys to Windows Linux mode. I think that one's very popular because on a regular out-of-the-box Haiku system, you access your menu commands with Alt-S for save, Alt-O for open. Now if you click this, then if we go up here, it has been changed to Control. Right? And if your fingers are just used to typing Control-S for save, Control-V, Control-X, all of those things, then you can actually do that very easily. It's immediate. And this very popular with some people. I used to use it myself back when my other system was a Linux machine. But now my other system is a Mac machine, and that's a bit more complex. So I've modified mine slightly to make it slightly easier for me to work. But it's really quite easy to modify your keyboard the way you like to work. Yeah. Now, I don't recommend that you have physically a US keyboard and then you sort of map the French one on top of it. I mean, you'd have to be a really good touch typist not to get confused by that. But it can be done. Okay, so that is basically it. Font, that's just the font that you use to decorate these keycaps. Let's see, we can find something. No, it doesn't. There we go. You could see that changing there. And that's just not a very important, but it makes it a bit easier to read, I suppose. Okay, so that's it for today. That is your Keymap preference.